English 121, Day 8. Thinking Critically. From the Allen and Bacon Guide, pages 26 to 33. The spirit of inquiry drives the writing process. Whenever you encounter a text, you must consider the question that lies behind the author's thesis, the implied problem or issue that the writer is wrestling with. Whenever you sit down to compose a text yourself, be sure you have thought critically first about the issue at hand and inquire deeply by asking good questions. First, consider frame of reference. This is a writer or reader's personal experience, history, beliefs, values, and background from which they approach a text. Writers write because they have something new or surprising or challenging to say in response to a question. Readers read because they share the writer's interest in the problem and want to deepen their understanding. Also consider the occasion of the text, which is a writer or reader's motivation for inquiring into a particular issue. The rhetorician Freire believed that good questions have stakes and answering them can make a difference in the world. Good questions must be problematic, significant, and interesting. First, they must be problematic. A good question is immediately motivating and puzzling for its intended audience. Either the answer is unknown or unpopular. Your readers should be intrigued by the question and curious about how to solve it. Good questions also must be significant. A good question should have something at stake. It should matter somehow and be worth pursuing. Good essays show readers why the issue at hand is important. Questions should also be interesting. A good question is one with which the writer is genuinely engaged. It has to be a real question for the writer, a problem in which he or she feels invested. Writing can only be infused with vitality when the writer is truly curious about a question or passionately concerned about it. The kinds of questions that stimulate the writing most valued in college-level courses focus on unknowns rather than facts that have single right answers. They require the thinker to make sense of complex data, to wrestle with alternative views, and eventually to stake out a claim and support it. Good questions are open-ended, they invite multiple points of view and alternative hypotheses, and they stimulate critical thinking and research. Historian Rodney Kilcup says that writers should begin their texts with a good, interesting question, meaning a question that sets the writer on a path of inquiry, analysis, and argumentation. Freire believed that students should be problematizers rather than memorizers. Problematizers think critically about concepts and seek alternative points of view. Memorizers, on the other hand, simply try to fill themselves up with knowledge through rote memorization. Good questions arise when you disagree with someone or something, when you are dissatisfied with a current situation, when you are unsure of your position on an issue or are equally swayed by alternative points of view, when you are dissatisfied with an earlier, easier answer to a question, when you are uncertain about the causes, consequences, purpose, or values of an issue, or when you are puzzled by a phenomenon or the inconsistency of a text. Be sure to state your questions effectively. In your writing, you must make questions clear, even if it is not explicit, and you must show why the question is problematic for you as a writer, as well as why it is significant for your readers. Show how solving the problem will lead to real-world benefits, and how solving a small problem will help address a larger problem. Thinking critically about strong, interesting questions is the starting point to any good writing.